what's up, you guys? It's Albert Enriquez, your host of Artistic Visions, the show where we like to go in-depth with young artists at OCAD, talk about their art, what they like to talk about in their art, and what they would like to talk about in their art. Today's episode, I got a very special guest, Sharene. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
Nice to have you. Let's just, go into it. Who are you? What kind of art do you make?
I mostly do filmmaking. I don't like considering myself an artist. Right now, I will say my passion is dead. I do have some works that I am proud of, though, and I am making some works that I feel ambition for. So I guess that's all I could say.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a couple of courses with you, and I've seen a lot of your work, so I've always been intrigued and excited to see what has been the thought process behind a lot of your projects. The first one I want to talk about and we'll touch on here is Moonflower. And what do you want to talk about in this piece?
This is my first integrated media piece that I did for Azaree's second year Production 1 class. So this was our fictional assignment, and Azaree had given us some sort of freedom to work with other people, but the thing is I had just switched into integrated media, so I don't know anyone in that program, and so this project was just produced by me. I was acting, I was doing camera, lighting, color grading, editing, sound, all that.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is essentially my first work going into film and then understanding the technical aspects of using camera and blocking and lighting.
I was gonna say, because in this, you also mentioned that this was your first time using the Blackmagic camera. So I can't even imagine going into it for kind of a production on your first one and messing with the Blackmagic. So how was that for your first time in the integrated media world?
Because I usually worked, or I was more familiar with Canon's format, because I did grow up using a Canon DSLR camera.
Yeah.
But then when Azaree started introducing all these cameras that we had access to, I was like, oh, maybe I should try something out of my own comfort zone. And so first time at the INTM cage, I was like, I'd like to use a camera that goes up to 4K. And of course, because it was my first time into integrated media, they're like, why 4K? And I was like, why not? Why not give it a shot? And this is what Moonflower was for.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it looks really stunning. I actually really do love the colors as well. I thought it really makes it a very ethereal feeling short film to watch, and it's kind of puts into perspective kind of what's real, what's not. Especially towards the end, I feel like those colors gonna get lifted. But you saying that you did this on your own, there's some this shot here where you're in between the stair beams. Did you block that beforehand?
That was. The stair scenes, once I figured out my composition with the framing, I was like, wow, I love this shot. And I just took many takes of me going, okay, maybe I'll do the stairs, we'll see how it looks.
Wow.
So it was just going back and forth, behind the camera, in front of the camera, and then playing with other blockings. And because I was working with natural light, that's very unpredictable. And so the first shot I took of that scene was very blown out compared to this shot that I chose was I think it took me 3 hours.
Wow.
To get the perfect one. But thankfully, because it was an overcast day, lighting wasn't too much of a change.
Okay, yeah. It wasn't too sharp or too bright.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, no, because I noticed I think there's moments I think honestly the living room scene kind of caught me off guard, because then I started seeing multiple versions of you and I was like, wait. It's okay, now we got masking, now we got so many techniques.
Yeah, it was also my first time doing that type of masking. I was like, I do, this is how I want the shot to look. So I was going on YouTube, I was like, what could I get?
Yeah.
Out of the skills that I have now, what's the most that I could do?
No, I mean, it's absolutely astounding, seeing, especially hearing that it was your first time. I think you have a really natural ability with just knowing what you want in your short films. I've heard it especially in critiques, Sharene, don't back down. I know that you have this idea and you want it to execute, and if it won't, then I know you'll find something else in that place that is either
Mm-hmm.
equivalent or at least something like what you want. But it's always still comes out really amazing.
Yeah, I think that's where my stubbornness comes. I know sometimes, like in the past, I'm used to hearing it as like, oh, stubbornness is a weakness.
Yeah.
But now it's like brought me so much more forward with my practice.
I mean, it's hard, especially in the world of production, because it's like production. I feel I've been saying this recently. I don't know why, but like it's so hard to plan things.
Yeah.
And like make sure it will go to plan. Like on productions, it's
Yeah.
almost certain that something will go wrong. It depends. The scale is different, but like sometimes it will go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So with production, it's never gonna be the way you want it, but to get
Yeah.
to somewhere you wanted it to be, that's really amazing to see.
Yeah, being creative with film, I'd say, compared to, let's say, drawing and painting, film, you need such a heavy, like, there's this sort of balance where creativity is not enough. Like, you do need that technical aspect to
Yeah.
refine that creativity and then bring it more forward or saturate it in a way.
Yes, 100%. And now we'll move on to the next piece that you have here, 7:30. And what would you like to talk about in this piece?
7:30, ooh, this was my first piece where I was directing someone else's script. And so going into it, I had a lot of uncertainty, but also it grounded me in a way, whereas whenever I directed, I guess, my own writings in the past, I was more of a perfectionist and very controlling because I really, like, your idea is your child.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
very overprotective with it. Whereas with this script, which was written by Luke, I was more so, how could I, like, what is Luke's vision for his writing, and how could I refine it and then take it a step further without diminishing the story?
Yeah, no, I can't, to be honest, that's something I haven't really done, is directing another script. So like viewing this and knowing that it's someone else's script and knowing that this is mostly your hand. Of course, we have a huge crew behind, well, not a huge crew, but a size crew
Yeah.
behind this production. But with the crew that you have, you were able to complete this assignment, which is honestly not even an assignment at this point. It's an actual fun short film to watch. It's engaging. And, what was some of those things that you kind of had to put aside when it came to directing someone else's script? Do you feel like you did get rid of that stubbornness, or did you?
I think I definitely still had that stubbornness because I had a very solid vision for Luke's script. Like, the moment I read it, I knew exactly where it, like, visually had to go, or where I think the theme that it fits, I'd say. Because I know he did say it's meant to be comedic, slightly dramatic. And so when I was working with this crew, it was my first time working with, it was Sophie, Mia, and then Luke. Jacob, I did have experience working with him, but not as an actor. So I need to take in the factor, like, okay, how do these people communicate? So during the whole pre-production process, I would sit down with them, talk with them, converse with them. We don't even have to talk about, it didn't even have to be about 7:30 production, it could just be about their day.
Yeah.
So I see where they stand. And I guess it's more so, what did I have to let go? I feel like I had to let go of a lot of things. I guess that tunnel vision, this one felt more freeing. It was like less of a burden compared to filming something that was written by me. Like, I felt very light doing this.
I feel like when you're messing with someone else's script, there's a sense of like, okay, this is what we can play with. We can play around and see if this fits.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're working within your own script, you're like, no, I need it to be like this. I need this specific color grade and this palette. I need the lighting to be like, it gets really specific when you're a director and you don't, delegate those roles to people in like a head of lighting or a head of grip or whatever. It gets really tough. So yeah, no, just having a whole crew though, like being able to help with, kind of alleviating that pressure of like, it has to be like this, I think also helps. I also wanted to ask about some of the techniques you use. Like there's some moments with the windows that you use.
Oh, yeah.
I think, like, what was kind of like that on set? Were you just like kind of figuring out how to shoot this scene on set, or was it kind of, did you plan it and it was like, okay, we'll just use this?
Some of them were planned, like the bakery scene, the one with the acrylic and Jacob was peering into it with the pastries on the foreground. That one was planned. The one with the window where he lifts it up, we were trying to find a way of like how to shoot that scene because that shot was not in our shot list or production schedule for that day.
Okay.
Luke just added it when we were on set and he's like, oh, I forgot we have to add this because this is our next scene. Like there's nothing to cut into.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, oh shoot, continuity. And Sophie's like, oh, like I'm pretty sure there's something here. She immediately grabs the pot that was on the stove and she's like, this is a glass, this is see-through, we could use it. Like even though it was a circle, you can make it seem like a square just with the way Jacob like pulls it up.
Yeah, I think it was like so well done in that shot. Like it's just so fast, but also like he holds it in a way where it's so it comes together so well. So like that kind of like on set planning and not even on set planning, the on set like adaptation, I guess. Like especially when you get it from a crew, that helps so much. Like that must be so fun.
Yeah, I don't know, that crew, like even though it was so small, I felt so secure with them. Like I didn't have to do playback. I didn't have to ask for that. I just looked around after we shot. I said cut. I looked around and I'm like, hey, how do we feel about that? Like, how did you guys feel? We're like, that was good. We feel good. I was like, okay, next shot. Like I don't need to see it. I don't need to see them. Yeah, I just trust them.
Yeah. No, I mean like, and not even touching on Jacob and Cleo. Like, I mean, obviously it more features Jacob, which I think he does an amazing job of like playing like a bit of a goofy but like stressed guy.
He was legit Greg. Like the moment I saw the name Greg, I read the description, the dialogue, I was like, Jacob.
Jacob. It's actually Jacob. But yeah, I mean like, I don't know, just finding those people as well, because they're in your program, right? Like those are friends that you were able to work with before. And so it's just nice knowing and seeing that, you know, that friendship and those productions from before helping on future productions and seeing it all to come together in this production as well. I'm excited to see any more future pieces from Sharene. I'm sure you're gonna kill it in some way. It doesn't matter, experimental or not, like narratively, you've done it really, really well and really fun, really engaging. So I'm really excited to see what you do next within integrated media, even though you said your passion's
I just burnt out.
No, that's fair. Like production, it moves quick. And like, if things don't move quick, it dies down, and then you're like, okay, so is it happening? So,
I don't hate production, not yet,
okay.
or for now.
For now, just wait. I'm just kidding. Maybe. My next question, however, will be, you know, we've kind of touched a variety of videos here, but what kind of topics would you kind of, or have you kind of found yourself visiting in your art? It doesn't even have to be with integrated media. You said you've done art before, so
yeah.
What, in general, what kind of themes have you found yourself visiting?
I'm more drawn to very, how would I say this? Like neutral sides of not neutral, but like the gray aspects of emotions in humans. Because sometimes, I guess a good example is jealousy. Like when someone hears that, they're like, oh, it's like a red flag, like it's a bad aspect to have. But then there are some times where people will admit like, yeah, I'm jealous, but I don't like take it out on anyone. And they use it in a positive way, like a motivation to be better in whatever way they have to be or they want to be.
Yeah, that's a very interesting. That's not something I don't think gets focused on. It's usually a driver, at least in production or like in films and short films. Like you usually see it as a driver for like the third act or whatever. But like kind of like focusing on that event and like that kind of that thought process, I guess, behind it. Like, why would you think this is like the path to go, or what made you even act on those emotions? I guess.
Yeah,
right?
Because I guess it's common in, let's say, high school dramas. Like, if someone's jealous, it's like, oh, I'm going to do this to her, like, push her down the stairs, ruin her
Yeah.
opportunities in life.
Yeah.
But then it's like, in this world, you will meet people who are like, yeah, I'm a jealous person, but they don't do that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that they stay like, I understand my position.
Yeah.
I will not get more mad though. Yeah, no, like that's totally fair. I would like to ask though, what if you did have a chance for future productions or future pieces of art that you work on, what kind of topics and themes would you like to try and maybe visit?
Okay, I don't know if this is too... I'm scared of censorship.
Uh-oh. Well, it depends. We'll
I
see.
do have a dream adaptation to turn this misunderstood novel into a psychological horror.
Interesting. Okay.
That adaptation being Lolita.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've heard of the book.
very
Yes, I've heard of it.
controversial
Yes.
writing. But I think I've read it, I guess I started reading it when I was 16, but I started coming back to it like in my 20s. So when I was more mature and then a different perspective, I read the book and I was like, oh yeah, Humbert is an unreliable narrative. Like, he is the bad guy. He's not supposed to be romanticized like how the other filmmakers romanticized it. And I was like, this would be interesting to see as a psychological horror. Because it is. That's, yeah, what Dolores went through in that novel, that is not, it's scary.
Yeah. I'm not too, I haven't read it. I've only heard of things, but like, I think the subject matter is pretty, it's heavy, right? Like,
It is a heavy subject matter.
I think it's definitely one of those things where it's hard to navigate, but I think in a psychological horror, which is definitely one of my favorite genres out there, like, I think it's been getting a lot of love. So
Yeah.
like, just knowing that, that there's just so much to play with, I think, in that world.
Because I do not see Lolita as a romance novel or erotica. That is
insane.
Yeah.
It's insane to view it that
It's
way.
still being categorized as one, and I'm like, no, this isn't.
No, but like, yeah, like to switch it, because like that's the thing, that perspective that those people have, to switch into another way. It's like, oh wait, maybe this is kind of messed up. Maybe this is like good to read or something. But yeah, no, that'd be like great. Like, I think in terms of psychological horror, I mean, not the subject matter, but yeah, no, I love the idea of that, because I think psychological horror just like, it's just a playing field of like, if I want. I was gonna bring up like family trauma, but like, because Hereditary, like, you know, like Hereditary does a great job of like talking about that family lineage, but like that family trauma passed from generation to generation to generation, and to be able to do that, I think in psychological horror is always fun. So I would love to see what you do with that story and psychological horror. Now I do want to move on to maybe some inspirations that you've had. Have you seen any films maybe, or any directors, or even just artists in general that inspire your art?
One director that I am very annoying about, Yorgos Lanthimos.
Oh, yeah.
His most recent commercial film, I'd say, is Poor Things. I know some people are like, oh, this feels very experimental. I'm like, well, compared to his other films, this one's very commercial, I'd say. So it's more so the way he directs his actors is very thespian. Like, he puts a lot of thought and care into the rehearsal part of his films and productions. So looking into that, I was like, oh, no wonder his actors are able to act like this.
Yeah.
Because like, being in front of camera, it's more than just being pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's, I feel like if it's a model, they're more concerned about, or a photographer and a model, they're like, oh, pretty face, pretty figure, if it's like the fashion aesthetic or the fashion brand's aesthetic, and it suits them. But with acting, I'm like, wow, I would prefer if someone was more comfortable with being ugly, or like the worst form of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to acting and, you know, directing actors, I think it's so hard to like definitely put in that perspective of like, oh, this is what I'm thinking. This is who I want that character to be. But like, I definitely think like a field to play and like express how you think that character would be, I think is also really fun. Like, I think there's like moments in Poor Things where it's like Mark Ruffalo's character like literally looks at the camera and he's about to laugh and he breaks or something, and like they keep it in or something, right? Like there's moments like that where I think he kind of like goes for like the natural feeling stuff as well. That things that, like,
he did a very. I loved his performance in that.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of Poor Things, but I do remember. See, I saw so much Mark Ruffalo like, clips. Like, everyone loved Mark Ruffalo in that.
His acting was great. I think you'd love it, especially his character.
Yeah. I've only heard good things about it. His role specifically too, but some things about Poor Things as well. Now I will move on to the final question of the interview. Sadly, and this could be positive or negative. So you don't have to hold back. But how do you think OCAD has helped you with making art?
Oh, I feel like because OCAD is like a full-on fine arts university, it gives me the freedom to choose minors that are also art but outside of production. So on top of my integrated media, I have a drawing and painting minor, and that helped me so much with understanding color theory when it comes to color grading in camera for editing, and also concept developing, because when you think film, it's like, it seems like it's all theory based.
Yeah.
And so every time a film is being made, like let's say 5 groups make a film, sometimes if it's too theory heavy, these films will all look the same. Or like they'll give a same feeling, and then you're like, oh, this is how it was made, these are the equipments they use. But then on top, or like what OCAD has given me, or what I have learned at OCAD, is that concept could also take that technical aspect further, as much as technical aspect could take your concept further. Did I say that?
I think you just said it the opposite
Okay,
way.
yes. Vice versa.
Vice versa. There you go. Yeah, you covered it. I agreed. Like, I'm not in drawing and painting. I don't have a minor. But I could definitely see how those aspects of painting, even just like composition, I think as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's things that help you frame it and understand what you would like to see in it, at least like visually, and like color grading, you said, and I think those are really big aspects. I didn't even think about that, like color grading in terms of painting as well, like, just like complementing those colors on top of that, like, yeah,
because even for lighting, like when you're painting lighting from scratch, like without a reference, you need to know, like, you almost gain a sense of light theory. And then when you take that, I guess, lesson into production, like integrated media production, film theory, I guess, it's easier to like to work with natural lighting.
Oh yeah.
I'd say.
I will. I've had some cases with specific black magics that I will not talk. But no, I definitely agree. Like, natural lighting, I think helps a lot. Like, you can definitely like shoot purely in natural lighting half the time.
Yeah.
And like, if you're doing productions half the time for consistency and continuity, that's when they'll be like, okay, no, we need lighting here and here. And no, instead of daylight, we're gonna use the RE6000. Like put it up in the sky and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those aspects are always. But like, yeah, seeing those aspects like at a more like not top level production, right? Like we're still students at the end of the day, but like still navigating a space that is very competitive, but also very vast, but also very fun and very expressive. And there's so much to do, and even in painting, but so much to do in integrated media as well. Like it's endless.
Because you're working with other people.
Yeah.
Whereas drawing and painting, it's mainly just one person.
Yeah, and you can work off of each other's ideas. Like even maybe if you don't necessarily like most of the ideas, but those little ideas you can start taking, and it can mesh into one big idea and be like, actually, guys, what if we did do like, you know?
Yeah.
So there's always those things with productions that keeps that, at least for me, when I'm talking about production, like the passion for recording and editing and creating a piece or work that is, you know, to our liking, to at least a level where we were like, this is exactly where we want, like, this is great, you know, because even when you get past that production side and you're like done, you know, you're like, I don't know if it's good yet. Dang, like
that anticipating feeling.
Yeah. It definitely gets pretty devastating sometimes when you're like, damn, I didn't get the shot. But no, but it's great to hear though that like you're kind of putting everything into what you work in, like wherever you're working in.
Yeah, and you're working with other people too.
Yeah.
Which I think it gives a more open perspective. There are some times where I'm like too in my head and I was like, okay, I need to talk to someone right now. Like I need to bounce ideas off. I don't care if they think it's bad or good. I just need to hear something.
No, sometimes you just need that voice just to
Yeah.
be like, well, this is what I think, and then you're like, yeah, you're right. You know, like
Exactly.
right.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Sharene, for coming on the show. Before we end off, is there anything you'd like to plug, promote, or put out there for the world to know?
No, I'm a pretty low-key person.
Can't
Not
find
much
her
going on.
anywhere. Nowhere to be seen. But
Exclusive.
Exclusive. Unless you see their short film somewhere, do go check it out. If you do see like a show or something, or exhibition, do check out Sharene's work. If you stumble on it. Sorry, I can't tell you where to go. But thank you so much again, Sharene, for your time. I hope you had as much of a great time as I did.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and having this chat. And thank you for watching this episode of Artistic Visions. I cannot wait to see you guys very, very soon. Take it easy and hope you have a good weekend, or just a general day. Bye.
Enjoy.